Welcome to my kitchen, friends, here at that 1870s Homestead, and my name's Rachel, and we have a ton of tomatoes harvested from the garden. And the thing is I have harvested, I think last I counted, like 85 pounds of tomatoes, and they are all in the freezer. And these are going to the freezer too. So you're noticing, I brush off some dirt. And if there's any on there, most of them are growing on the vine, so there's no dirt. And stick them in a freezer bag, pop them down in my freezer till I originally started this back when I had a much smaller garden, and had to wait till I had enough to make something with. Now, that's not really a problem anymore, but it's time. Time now is a problem. And some of you guys are familiar enough with our channel, and you're like, well, if you wouldn't go to the cabin so much, you'd have time, I guess. But there's other things that go on in life too, that the cabin is just part of our sanity. And so we get away from time to time just to recoup and enjoy life, because there's nothing wrong with that, right? And I can still manage my harvest around having fun and enjoying life. And when I have time, we're gonna come back to these and harvest them, but don't leave because I'm not processing these today, because I'm gonna share with you not only what my freezer looks like, so you can get scale in mind what I'm gonna be dealing with here later in the year as time allows. But all I'm doing too, FYI, is just popping the green tops off and throwing them in the freezer bag. Most of the ones in the freezer have been cored, but I don't have the time for that today because I've got lots of other stuff I have to process, which is more priority, like my peaches right now. But I want to share with you guys my favorite ways to process tomatoes. I don't want to leave you hanging while you need to process your tomatoes or want to and have the time. So let me get these all bagged up. We'll head down to the freezer. Maybe I'll pull out a few jars from the pantry down there and show you some of my favorite things and what we've done. We'll link to those videos, give you all kinds of ideas so you don't walk away from my lack of time without having something fun to do in your kitchen to put up your tomatoes. Okay, that's my big basket of packaged up tomatoes. Whew, this weighs, I don't know, I always guess, I don't guess, I've actually done a weight, and about right at 5 pounds per full 5-gallon bag. So I don't know how many I've got in here, but want to see what's in the freezer. Okay, let me put it down. Okay. All of this is tomatoes, and we're gonna start overflowing. I got a big bag of, we got some corn cobs. I can move, let's see. I might have to do some organization before I get you guys in here. I need to get that flour out. But let's see what we can get in here and squeeze. So I think there's, 15, 20 bags in there now. Uh-oh, this one just came open. Okay, you stay closed, please. Okay. Totally okay to do. So the day it comes processing day, I'll probably pull these out like the night before. I'll pick like a Saturday when I'm not working, pull them out the night before. That way they're pretty much thawed in the morning, throw them in the roaster. If I don't have that time, I have thrown them straight frozen in the roaster, just let them cook down all day. So get the big bag of flour out of here. You might be asking, Rachel, why do you have flour in your freezer? Well, I buy it in bulk oh, excuse me, I buy it in bulk, and then it's just something that you can do. Anytime you buy a grain, rice, oats, flour, there's a chance, no matter what, if you buy it from the store, anywhere, there's a chance that there is live pest, we'll just call them that, in your flour. So you can freeze it and it kills them off. And so we do that anytime we bring it home. We buy our bulk flour, sugars, all that from an Amish grocer. And so, guys, there's so many more tomatoes out in the garden. Like, we're not even close to being done. I won't wrap up tomato harvesting till October, and it is August 20 something. So by the end of this harvest, I will have this freezer packed. I really do hope to have time to get to you guys some canning videos, like actually during canning season, or like the prime garden harvest season. But in absence of that, you guys are gonna get a sneak peek at midsummer pantry chaos. You ready? Ooh, sorry. So I'm gonna scoot you way back so you can see. Ooh. Let's see. This is what my floor looks like right now. Just boxes and boxes of canned goods. You can't see behind this that I have not organized and put away. But let me go grab a few things off the pantry shelves so we can talk about it. Okay, let's talk spaghetti sauce. This morning, it's all about the tomatoes. I've been working on them since about 6:30, just getting them skinned, but we're gonna make spaghetti sauce for the most part. I'll see if there's anything left over that maybe I'll turn into some pizza sauce. So I think I found a really good one, but the tip from last year to this year that I want to tell you guys about is I use straight tomatoes, and it takes a long time to cook that down to a spaghetti sauce. Just a bag of unprocessed carrots from the garden, and they said to drop 2 carrots in the pot, and what the carrots supposedly do is they are going to soak up some of the extra acidity. Anyway, I will come back and let you know 50 pounds of tomatoes using this recipe. How many quarts of spaghetti sauce did I get? It's gonna take a while. These do process for a while in the water bath. So guys, I will never not can spaghetti sauce every single year in my pantry. Spaghetti sauce #1. Chili base. So, just don't be a Rachel again and do it the day of the deed. And then the next day you're refreshed and you're ready to go. Let's dump in, this is a gallon bag. It was very full. I just broke it up. It's frozen. Grated squash and zucchini. And then I have probably 4 cups of chopped onions, 4 green peppers chopped, 3 jalapenos and 3 banana peppers. I just now came downstairs from work. It was just one of those days, but look how low it's cooked down. That's great news. So that's exciting. So I'm going to puree this up for the first time. And hey, what I tell myself in moments like this is the flavor's just gonna be that much better, right? Everything's cooked together so well, it's just gonna be splendid. So I'm gonna get in here and puree this. I'll be right back. Time for seasonings. So we're gonna go take this slow, and I'm going to show you what I do. I'm gonna measure it 1/2 cup at a time for chili powder. So you could go probably anywhere from 1/2 cup to 1.5 cups based on flavoring that you like. We will go with how much garlic powder? 1/4 cup of garlic powder. And then salt. So 12 teaspoons, and I know I'm almost out of salt, so we'll Start with 8, see how we like it from there. Now the sad part is I usually keep everything on stock. I'll go look down in the basement, but 3 teaspoons of cumin, I only have probably a teaspoon and a half. That's not going to cut it. So I just have to put a note on my mason jars that I need to add more cumin. 10, right on the money, honey. That's exciting. It doesn't. All right, so the plan is I'm going to bring this up to a boil and we are gonna start my timer for 40 minutes. So this was one of my favorite ones. And guys, if you're wanting to streamline your canning process, definitely go with the method where in Ball Book, they have a recipe to make like a tomato base and then add a blend of seasonings, whether it's Cajun, Italian, Mexican style seasoning blends, and then you can get 3 different sauces out of one batch. I really like doing it that way. I'm sure this one I just did a big batch of chili sauce, but just an idea of what you can do. Let's head over to the Pines and we'll talk about some of those things. Oh my gosh, so many tomato products, I just forgot one. Okay, well, I'm not gonna grab it because my hands can't hold it. How should I do this? I'm gonna do this in order of I must have. And it's probably a tie for the top 2. So I must have our pizza sauce. So I would guess that was probably 30 to 35 pounds of chopped tomatoes. My tomatoes, guys, are coming in like this every day, a basket full. 6 cloves of garlic in here. So basically a clove of garlic per cup of onion. What else do we need? Oh, rosemary. 4 teaspoons of rosemary.
When you're at this stage, this is the time
to season,
to tweak it and adjust it and make it yours. You don't have to make it exactly the way that we do. Maybe you want your pizza sauce to be a little spicy, so you could toss in some red pepper flakes and a lot of different things. Now's the time to do it before it goes in the jars. Get it how you want it. Mm-hmm. Taste it 15, 20 times if you need to.
Which is definitely another reason why I cook my tomatoes down just plain as they are before I even do any seasoning. One of my hashtags that I used was my method of preservation is preserve what you eat. Now, similarly to the pizza sauce is like the spaghetti sauce that it took me quite a while. Like we sat in the kitchen as that recipe was cooking down, tweaking it and tweaking it. I have it documented what my recipe is. Go check out that link. I tell you, I read a fun quote today, and I think it was from, I don't want to give the wrong person the credit. It was on Instagram, and it was so well written, and it said, we need to normalize not comparing real food to store-bought food. And I thought, wow, I'm so guilty of that, because I always say with this, it is so much better than anything you could ever buy from the store. Well, of course it should be. It should be different. It should be wholesome. It should be just completely different, right? And we should stop trying to get store-bought as our echelon of what is good food, right? And that's a big culture mind shift when that's how you were raised, and that is how we were raised. That is your standard that you've developed, rather than what fresh, whole, real ingredients taste like. And so you're always trying to modify something to make it, I guess, taste a little fake. Weird, isn't it? But what a good, profound statement. And then secondly would be our salsa. I love my salsa recipe. It's definitely not standard at all. I don't do the Mrs. Wages or anything like that. And again, this has been not really modified too much since I made it back in 2016. The only modification I've done over the years is I figured out a way that I use more zucchini than tomatoes to get a huge batch of tomato based salsa. So go definitely watch that video, write it down, test yourself a small batch if you're not really sure, like convinced that zucchini can hide in all things, because it really can. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I would say 3.5 good rows, and my pint rows I think are 7 jars deep still of salsa from the last year. So we'll probably not choose salsa canning as one of our first priorities, even though it is a first priority for me to make sure I have enough in my pantry. We did lots and lots of barbecue sauce last year because we had such a huge bumper crop of tomatoes, and I think it's a fun idea for me this year in that I don't need any more barbecue for my sauce for myself, but how fun would it be to do a barbecue sauce blend as a Christmas gift? So we did cherry, spicy with our cowboy candy brine left over, and original, I think just like an original. And then lastly is our condensed tomato soup. We absolutely loved having our condensed tomato soup on the pantry shelves during the winter. I don't know how many times I came down, it was a go-to. And it's not only a go-to for just like tomato soup, but thinking about tortellini bases and different recipes. Loved having that on the pantry shelf. So, the one other thing I was going to tell you, all I've done this year so far is I have done ketchup, so that's added, you know, not recanned like I did from the 10-pound can, but fresh ketchup from my tomatoes. Turned out great. I did use the Mrs. Wages packet for that. Wonderful. The only thing I tweaked with that recipe was I added liquid aminos. Guys, I get a lot of questions, what is liquid aminos? It's basically an organic soy sauce. So if you don't have soy sauce or liquid aminos available to you, try soy sauce. Add a bit of that to any of your tomato-based sauces. It gives it a depth of flavor that you just don't have without it. It's an umami. So the other thing is our enchilada sauce. I don't know for sure if I had a video on that one. If I didn't, I'll go back and check, but that would be worth me making a video on if I didn't. I will be honest, this is one of those store-bought comparisons. My daughter-in-law, I was raving about it. She goes, I don't know that I liked it as much. It wasn't as thin, like ours is much thicker. It wasn't as thin as she was used to getting like enchilada sauce out of a can from a store. I was like, no, it's not going to be exactly like the store. But those are I wanted to give you guys something to go and work with in your kitchen. And these are my go-to. I don't modify things much. They're tried and true recipes. Even go watch some of those videos. You'll see comments from viewers where they've tried it. They love it. It's become a family favorite. Hands down, the spaghetti sauce and the pizza sauce are two of my most raved about recipes. So, yeah, now I have to get back up in the kitchen and get to work on the rest of that harvest. So stay tuned. We'll have a peach video coming out here shortly. So thanks guys for coming with me on just ways to manage the harvest, number one, and ideas for how to preserve your tomatoes. And I'll talk to you guys later.